So remember that the cruise project packet that you worked on last week actually was two parts. It was the packet portion, and then it is a presentation portion, which is what we'll be doing this week. And we have a timeline set up for you so that while you're working this week, you just can kind of do little bits at a time so that you aren't feeling overwhelmed or you don't have too much to do at the end. Unfortunately, I think that's what happened on a lot of your cruise packets. You were procrastinating, you waited till Sunday or even Monday to try to work on it, and then realized you couldn't get it all done in that short of time. I was really disappointed by the turn-in rates on that cruise packet. I think there were up to 10 of you that I didn't get one from, so I'm really pretty shocked there. But anyway, I'm going to head over to Canvas quickly. This should only take us, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes today if there aren't any questions. But over on Canvas today, it says I'll be live at 9:15 on Skype to discuss the next part of the cruise project, which is the presentation. So we've broken the presentation down into 4 parts. One part to work on each day this week. Remember, this week we are going virtual learning Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Each day I'll kind of go over an overview of the project just to refresh your memory, as well as discuss the expectations for that day. So there are 3 links below. The first one is an image from your cruise project packet of the expectations of the presentation. So you'll see that here. We'll look at that in a second. The next link is a timeline for you to follow. This just, again, breaks it down into kind of 4 parts. So you're not feeling overwhelmed. If you're just doing a little bit each day, you'll be done by Friday. You are welcome to work ahead here. And then the last link is a sample slide so you can see what your presentation should look like. And again, I'll have a link to a video in here that will be this recording of this session in case you need to go back at any time and check out, or you can't remember. So the first thing I'm going to click on is the presentation information that's from your packet. This is so if you don't want to keep opening your packet every day or it's just another place to find the information. But this was in your packet. And my internet is also over all this virtual learning. It's been so slow since like Thursday, and I'm just really struggling to get some of this to load faster. So we'll just sit here for a minute. And I've got it turned off on everything else. No one else is using internet right now. Okay, so the week of May 12th to the 15th, that's this week, we're creating an electronic presentation using PowerPoint, Google Slides, Prezi, or some other presentation platform of your vacation. Remember, we all took the same cruise, and it has to include the following elements. So first, it needs to include a title slide. You can make that fancy, put pictures on it, make sure your name is there. It could say something like, Mercy's Magnificent Travels or something like that. Eli's Exciting Cruise, whatever you want to put on your title slide. You can, background images, you can do whatever you want to make it fancy and catch our attention. Then you need to have at least 12 pictures throughout your slideshow, and you can count those while you're going. At the end, you can split it up. There are 8 days. If you put 2 pictures from each day, that would be 16. That would definitely be enough pictures. So each island that we visit, remember we start in San Juan, the cruise takes off, and we kind of do some island hopping before coming back to San Juan. So when you do a slide for each island, it should have the name of the island. We're also going to have you look up latitude and longitude for each destination. It's been a while, I think, since you did that in Mr. Lutman's class. You're going to round it to the nearest 10th of a degree. So remember, when you look up latitude and longitude, it gives you like out to the 10,000th place. So we want to make sure that we're rounding it to the nearest 10th of a degree. And then also a little bit of journaling on these slides. So, while we all took the same cruise and did the same things, we want to make sure that we do a little bit of journaling about it. So each slide that's about an island, as you're journaling, will have a good sized paragraph, really about what you did. Was it exciting? Was it fun? Would you do it again? Each part. And remember that the different parts of the packet tell you exactly what you did those days. A paragraph, a good paragraph, has 5 to 7 sentences. So that's the expectation on your journal entries, that you do 5 to 7 sentences for each slide. This is all due Monday by noon. We are unable to take anything late, although I haven't been taking stuff late anyway. 20 points total for the presentation. This is another really good way to get your grade up. 2 points per day, and I don't mean Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I mean 2 points per day of the cruise, and there were 8 days on the cruise. And then 4 points for creativity. So that's just kind of some general information. If you want to access that, that will be available for you to look at all week. Next, we have the suggested timeline, and this is in a Word document where we kind of break it down by day. So what we're going to cover right now is what you will do today, or what you can do today to kind of keep you on track. Again, the purpose of this timeline is so that you don't find yourself working through Sunday night into Monday morning trying to get it done, and then it's not your best work. Again, I really feel like that happened on that packet. I feel like too many of you were procrastinating and waiting until Sunday and then started working and were like, oh wow, this is harder than I thought, or I need help from my teacher, and it's 2 a.m. Monday morning. So please, please, please don't wait till the last minute to work on this, or you won't get a very good grade. Okay, so again, this information was on the last image, so I'm not going to go over that again. I'm just going to scroll down. So you can see it's broken down into Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So on Tuesday, that's today, we want you first to create your title slide. Okay, that shouldn't take but a few minutes, but also be creative with it, right? Then day one on the cruise. So remember what happened on the very first day. We hopped on a plane in Fort Wayne, we flew to Chicago, then we flew from Chicago to San Juan, Puerto Rico, then we left the airport, we went to the cruise ship, and we boarded the cruise ship. So that's your first day. When we say we're breaking the trip down into days, we're not talking about just the days where you're on the boat and you're island hopping. We're talking about each day of the entire trip, start to finish. So the first island you actually go to is San Juan, Puerto Rico, and that's where the flight comes in from Chicago. That's where we get on the ship. You can probably talk about, if you want to see, most people I think on a cruise ship would go find their little cabin, put their luggage away, and then probably explore, right? And that would be really fun to do. So your journaling on the first day is about your flight to San Juan, how arrival to the ship, and then getting ready to actually leave and start the cruise actually leaving. So that's day one. So there's a slide there. So you have a title slide, you have a day one San Juan, Puerto Rico slide. Remember, you need the name of the island, latitude and longitude, and a little journaling. So this is what we're telling you what to journal about. This is where you get creative, here is in your journal. Then the second day, the ship makes its first stop on the St. Thomas Island. So remember here, and you can go back in your packet and read about it, but remember what you do there. And it told you right in the one where when you totaled everything up, it was like $218. I think it's like question 7, 6, 8, something like that. So at St. Thomas Island, remember that in the morning you went shopping, so you can talk about that. And in the afternoon you went on an island tour. Remember that as you are creating these slides to be adding in images. So, for that first day, I've had images of flights. I've even had, I think it was last year, somebody photoshopped themselves onto a plane, and that was a really cool picture. But, you just can kind of type in shopping on St. Thomas or island tours in St. Thomas and see what kinds of images pop up that you can insert into your presentation. So if these are the 3 things you work on today and you get those done today, you're in really good shape. Basically, you're doing roughly 2 slides per day. So 3 and 4, 5 and 6, and then Friday would be days 7 and 8. And remember that on day 8 of the cruise, we go back to San Juan, we get back on a plane, and we fly back home. So that day will be a sad day, right? Because you have to go home. But so this is today. Again, you're welcome to work ahead because it's all laid out pretty well here. I just don't want you working behind. Again, I was really bummed about the number of cruise projects that were turned in those packets. There were not very many. Math 7, it was even worse, and I just think that you probably ran out of time. I know that you're over this. We tried to make these last couple of weeks a little different. It wasn't like giving you a lesson and making you do practice and giving you a lesson and making you do practice. We tried to make it a little more fun for you by doing this project. So I really would like to see lots of participation and some really good presentations turned in. So I'm going to go ahead and, again, this is all accessible to you through Canvas. I'm going to go ahead and go to the next document, which is a slide that Mrs. Foster created that just kind of shows, it's a sample slide. This is what it would look like if it was in your presentation. So you'll notice right away that it's an island that you don't visit. So we didn't pick somewhere you're actually going on the cruise. She just picked an island actually in California. It's called Catalina Island. And if it ever loads, yeah, man, this is wild, this internet thing. I just don't know what to do to speed it up. And yes, I did all my updates. I checked that the other day when it was moving slow. Okay, so Catalina Island in California. I don't know if it's just the PowerPoint stuff that made this. This is in PowerPoint that I tried to open through Canvas. I think if I downloaded it, it would look a lot nicer because this all fit in the box. But so remember what you're supposed to include. Here's the name of the island. Here is the latitude, longitude. You're welcome to abbreviate the direction, N for north, W for west. But notice that the latitude and longitude have been rounded to the nearest tenth of a degree, 0.4, 0.4. Don't worry about this natural resource. That's something we used to do. You can see some images. So these were just lifted from Google. This is Catalina Island. Here's another picture over here on the right of the mountains. And then here's the journal entry. So today we stopped at our first island. Catalina Island is located just off the coast of California. It was absolutely beautiful at this island. And so then it kind of goes on to talk about what was done that day. Again, this is first person. This is you talking about what you did on the cruise. There was a little zip line tour, so it looks like she was able to insert an image of someone zip lining. So you can kind of see how that's supposed to look for your slides. Again, we want them to be creative, we want them to be fun, and to make it look like you're having a really good time. So you can follow that timeline as you're working through your presentation. I'm going to go ahead and switch back here and stop sharing. So again, last week was the packet. This week is the presentation. If you didn't get the packet done or get it turned in, it's too late now to do that. So you just need to move on and start working on the presentation and at least get some points there. Also, I wanted to remind you, and I'll try to remember every day to tell you this, if you have not filled out your schedules for next year, then make sure that you're doing that, or they are going to pick your classes for you in terms of your electives. So you want to make sure that you go online. I believe they emailed out a link last week or the week before for you to sign up for classes. And there are several students on our team who haven't done that yet, so please do that. Does anybody have any questions about the project, the presentation that you're working on this week? Nobody has any questions. Anybody want to
So since it's in first person,
Yeah.
could I make it like where I could have stuff randomly happen to me, just like random crazy stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. So the stuff that gets talked about on the trip, like for example, that first island where you go shopping and then you take an island tour. Absolutely. Now you can build into that story. Okay, I know I went shopping and I know, maybe you want to say while you were shopping, somebody tried to shoplift and the St. Thomas police came rushing in and tackled the guy to the ground. Whatever story you want to spin. Absolutely, but you are shopping and then you are taking an island tour later that day. Yeah, that's a great question. I would love to see some creativity. Yeah, for sure. Everybody have a nice weekend? Man, the weather was poopy, wasn't it, compared to the weekend before. On Friday, Mr. Deming had lunch. I'm going to go ahead and stop recording since we're done talking.